Hello, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have an unboxing of a Philips cell phone. The model is Philips S6206. If you didn't know that Philips made cell phones, let me tell you that I just found out. So as you realize, this one is part of the 6000 series. I'm still not quite sure if they have several series, but at least this is an entry-level model, so let's get to know it. This device will have two versions, one with 128 gigabytes of storage with 6 gigabytes of RAM and another with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. So its launch price in Mexico is $2,699, although the edition with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage has a launch price of $3,999. So it all depends on which version you're going to prefer, but let's take it out of the box and see what else comes included and then the features of the cell phone. And as you can see, in true Motorola style, it comes the smartphone right out of the box with the case on, so they save a little space in the packaging, and we are grateful that this accessory is included, which will obviously serve to protect our phone. It is a simple case, completely transparent, and I would say that it is completely flexible, but honestly it has a little more rigidity than most cases that come included with smartphones. So I think it's going to give a good defense to the device, plus it seems to have slightly reinforced corners to help counteract any kind of fall. Look at the design of the back cover. It looks like it comes with a matte finish. In that aspect, I really liked it because it notes that there are no fingerprints left behind. So personally, I would be more encouraged to use this phone without a case because it feels great in the hand and also looks elegant. If you put a case on it, I think it loses a lot of the charm of the design and looks much more generic, more traditional, so it's up to you as the user to decide how to use it. Let me know in the comments what you like best. Get this device powered up, and while it's powering up, let's check what else comes in the box. For now, what stands out to me is that the mica that comes attached from the factory comes with this tab that's actually going to get in the way all the time. So it looks like it's just a temporary mica for transport but not intended for use. In fact, look, underneath this mica comes another mica, so it's two micas. We're going to remove this one that was just going to be in the way, and we're going to keep the factory protection. Oh, let's see what else is in the box. And we found the quick start guide right away. Then look what a surprise, tempered glass. This is something I haven't seen included in a box in a long time. So this tempered glass mica, you can stick it perfectly to also prevent any accident. It is better to break this glass and not break the glass directly from the phone. So it's appreciated that it comes included, considering it doesn't come with Gorilla Glass or something similar. So at least it comes with this additional mica, and that can be highlighted. And finally, we find ourselves with cable and charger. Of course, it's an extremely simple 10-watt charger, and the charger is from USB-A to USB-C. At least it seems to be a good length. And finally, we find the tool to remove the tray. And that's basically all that comes in the box. So we're going to put all of that away again so we can focus completely on what this device has in terms of its technical specs. I've already got the device set up here in my hand so I can give you a look at its main specs. So let's get started. It's 8.5 millimeters thick and weighs about 182 grams. Of course, its plastic finish makes it not so heavy, and in this case we can find it a back cover with curved edges. It is comfortable to hold in the hand. The screen is 6.79 inches in its diagonal. Quite big, but with HD plus resolution, and in this case with 90 Hz in its refresh rate. Definitely that it is a simple screen. The advantage is that it's very large, so you have a lot of space, especially if that's one of your priorities. But at least in brightness, I consider it to be a screen that falls very short. At maximum brightness, I still consider it to be a relatively low brightness, and even if you start to slightly lower the percentage, you are going to notice that the screen is really very low in its brightness. But remember, we are talking about a device that is positioned in the entry market. It also has mono sound with a very basic quality, but do not panic if you have headphone jack or just that it is on the top. The front camera is 8 megapixels with f2.0 aperture and fixed focus. And as usual here, I have a screen screenshot simply to show you what it looked like before I took the picture, and you notice it was a very tricky backlit environment. But unfortunately, even after taking the picture, it doesn't make an improvement. It doesn't balance highlights and shadows well, so it does a poor job. In cameras, we will find first 48 megapixels with f1.8 aperture and autofocus for the main camera, then a 2 megapixel macro camera with f2.0 aperture, and lastly the decoration camera that really won't be of much use. Also, here is the LED flash. Look at this picture. It is with the main camera. I think it complies as far as it goes. Remember that it is a device of a tight price, so we can't get so demanding, but at least in these outdoor conditions it seems to work well. Then took a picture with the macro camera so you can see how close you can get to objects. Notice the difference. This would be as close as you can get with the main camera. Even zooming in a little bit, you will see that the quality of the picture is good, but the macro camera in this case will allow you to get a little bit closer to maybe get more detail of very small objects. So the macro camera doesn't disappoint too much, but the one that does disappoint is the ornamental one, because you notice that for portrait photography it doesn't seem to keep objects in focus. So it's extremely simple portrait photography, confirming that the third camera is completely useless. For video recording, it should be noted that this device does support full HD recording, in this case with the rear camera, but with the front camera only supports HD recording, something that I think is a weak point. The battery in this case is 4920 mAh and supports 10 watts charge. So definitely the charging is going to be very slow, and I think it is another weak point because more and more manufacturers, even in the entry range, are putting a little more powerful chargers. Fortunately, it includes fingerprint reader on the side button, and in this case if it comes with Android 13 P. This is noteworthy because in the price range there are still other manufacturers that distribute their devices with Android 13. And in its highest edition, it has 8 GB of RAM with 256 GB of storage. Those 2 points can also get to stand out a lot if they work well, but we will test that in the review to see if it is really able to have good fluidity even with many open applications. Finally, the processor is a Unisoc T606, a processor that not many people trust, but here are the benchmark results. 377 points on single core and 1365 on multi-core. That is slightly higher than MediaTek's Helio G85, which is usually used a lot in the entry range. And in Antutu, this device scored 281,805 points. So it will not be a very powerful processor in terms of graphics, but with the necessary fluidity perhaps for a basic user who wants to have a lot of storage. However, remember that in the review I will tell you many more details about this device. For now, we have reached the end of this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, you know you can tell us, and we'll see you next time.